of sin, stepping into this grace you're in. All I need is you in my life. My efforts don't suffice. Only your grace, only your grace, grace. I try to tell you that I give my all to you, but really it is you who gave your all to me. I try in my mind to figure it out, but I can calm down now. I know you're holding me. Drive myself crazy trying to plan this and plan that, but I can stop all that. I know you've got my back. Once I was a wanderer, now I'm a Christ follower, winning souls for the Lord, walking by faith in your word. Only your grace, only your great grace. I try to tell you that I give my all to you, but really it is you who gave your all to me. I try in my mind to figure it out, but I can calm down now. I know you're holding me. Drive myself crazy trying to plan this and plan that, but I can stop all that. I know you've got my back. I was a wanderer, Christ follower now. A wanderer, Christ follower now, now, now.
So good morning. My message today has a title of How to Have a Lasting Friendship. And I'm going to be going to the book of 1 Samuel, starting in chapter 18. And I want to just relate a couple of scriptures before I start. So we have Proverbs 18:24. And that says, a man who has friends must himself be friendly, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Proverbs 17:17 says, a friend loves at all times. So I thought we could take a look at the relationship and friendship of Jonathan and David, because they had a very blessed friendship that I believe was ordained by God. So I would like to start off by saying David was always referred to as a man after God's own heart. That's a special title, to carry that around for your life, a man after God's own heart. I've always wanted to be like that. I've always wanted to be a man after God's own heart. And so when he ultimately, just before this friendship started, it's Goliath. He had to fight with Goliath, and he brought his head home to Saul. So Saul was very interested in this man and how he could probably help his kingdom. But I'd like to read 1 Samuel 18, 1 through 5. And this is what it says. After David had finished talking with Saul, he met Jonathon, the king's son. There was an immediate bond between them, for Jonathon loved David. From that day on, Saul kept David with him, and he wouldn't let him return home. And Jonathon made a solemn pact with David because he loved him as he loved himself. Now that part right there makes me think of, we're supposed to love God with all our heart, with all our mind, with all our soul, and with all our strength. And then it says we're to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And that's what's going on here. Jonathon loves David. David loves Jonathon. And it's a special pact that was ordained by God. I believe it was a divine meeting, and God made it happen. So to finish that scripture up, it said, whatever Saul asked David to do, David did it successfully. So Saul made him a commander over the men of war, in the appointment that was welcomed by the people and Saul's officers alike. When the victorious Israelite army was returning home after David had killed the Philistine, women from all the towns of Israel came out to meet him, and this is what they said. Saul has killed thousands, and David his 10,000s. So that is where jealousy comes in. Saul did not like the fact that David was honored by the people more than him. So from that point on, he had it out for David. But it says the covenant they had, Jonathon and David, was to love one another, to be there for each other. So their souls were knit together. Now, a soul would contain the mind, the will, and emotions. So they had a very tight bond, and it was immediate. It was a divine appointment. And Jonathon actually gave David his robe, his armor, that would be the sword, the bow, and the belt. He quickly recognized God's presence in David and his future opportunity to be the king of Israel. And as a matter of fact, he was the greatest king of all Israel. But David was a threat to King Saul, preferred to keep him close. Jonathon protected David. So I'm going to go to 1 Samuel 19, 1 through 7. Now let me get there. So here we go. Saul now urged his servants and his son Jonathon to assassinate him with his father, what his father was planning. Tomorrow morning, he warned him, you must find a hiding place out in the fields. I'll ask my father, this is Jonathon speaking, to David, I'll ask my father to go out there with me, and I'll talk to him about you. Then I'll tell you everything I can find out. So right there, though Jonathan loved his father, he was still very protective of Saul. No, I'm sorry. He was still very protective of David. And the next morning, Jonathan spoke with his father about David, saying many good things about him. The king must not sin against his servant David, Jonathan said. He never has done anything to harm you. He has always helped you in any way he could. Have you forgotten about the time he risked his life to kill the Philistine giant and how the Lord brought a great victory to all Israel as a result? You were certainly happy about it then. Why should you murder an innocent man like David? There is no reason for it. So Saul listened to Jonathan and vowed, as surely as the Lord lives, David will not be killed. So you can see here, Jonathan is very protective of David. He didn't want anything bad to happen to David. They were tight. Though Jonathan loved and respected his father, there was still almost a stronger bond with Jonathan and David. So Jonathan actually spoke into David's life. He was encouraging him. It was all positive stuff that he related to David with, Jonathan to David. And it was actually a little bit prophetic too, because he had it in his heart, and this is very humbling for him, that David would be the next king, even though he was in line to be the next king. So that's the story of Jonathan and David, and what a special friendship they had together. But what I'd like to do is talk about a friend I have. We were friends since 1963. We were in 6th grade together, and he sat across from me, and we were always getting in trouble. But he was a good friend. We both loved baseball. It was very important to us. And 3 years after we met, I moved away. And that friendship actually was gone for a while. But I believe that friendship was also God ordained. Because 52 years later, I got a text from him. And it wasn't for 6 months that I saw that text. So 6 months had passed, and then I got that text from Richard. And I responded to him after that 6 months. And we actually renewed our friendship. Now, he thought about me every June 26th, because he's a date man. He knows dates about everything. He was able to tell me how long it's been since we've been apart, etc., etc. So what happened was every June 26th, this gentleman, he was a teacher for us. His name was Mr. Oliveira. And he would take us to a baseball game. And that was the date he took us. So Richard told me that every June 26th he would think about me. And that went on for 52 years. And I always respected how he played baseball, and that was special to me. And we're actually back together. He's gone through some difficult times because his wife actually went unconscious in his arms about a month ago. But I've been able to be there for him. We are in touch with each other every day. At least almost every day. I don't want to exaggerate. But I have a special love for him. And I believe he probably has a special love for me. And I would compare it to a love like Jonathan and David had. And I love that guy. And I'm there for him whenever he needs me. The point of my message was how to have a lasting friendship. And basically what I did was use the friendship of Jonathan and David and how special they were for each other. And I used my relationship with Richard because I believe both of those relationships were God ordained. And I believe to be a friend to him, that I need to be there for him. That I need to, when he's going through a tough time, I need to be there for him. And I need to speak into his life, to encourage him and to get him through difficult moments, like he does to me at times. And that is what creates a special friendship. And can God do something special with that friendship? Sure he can. He can create a heart or a soul that's knit together. And that's what I would want for everybody that has a friend. That they would be there for their friend. And that they would appreciate that friendship to the point that it's a very special thing. Not only special to your friends, to being friends, but also special to God. Because that's what he would want. He would want us to be there for each other. So, just be good friends to your friends. And be there for them. And they'll be there for you too. I guess in essence what I would like to end this message with is that you don't take your friendships for granted. That you love on them and let them love back on you. And let God make it something special. That's the message. Have a great day. See you next time.